Hi guys, I'm here at the Crumbs Doilies shop in Soho, and here at the shop we make so many different flavours of cupcakes, it's quite difficult to keep up, to be honest. And if you follow us on Instagram, then you'll know that we post pictures of our favourite offerings on there every day, and one of the flavours that gets the most likes is the Jammie Dodger cupcake, and when we sell that at the shop, it absolutely flies off the shelves, probably because people are coming in trying to relive their childhood with these guys, the Jammie Dodgers, the star of the show, so I thought it was about time I showed you how to make Jammie Dodger cupcakes. Now, if you don't know what a Jammie Dodger is, it is this. It's simply a vanilla biscuit sandwiched together with raspberry jam, and it's got a little heart cut out so you can see the jam inside. And it's basically almost every British child's favourite biscuit, apparently, according to some polls. And I definitely love it, even as an adult, and I loved it when I was a kid. So it is really the perfect thing to turn into a cupcake because they're really super cute already. And the best thing about the Jammie Dodger is the jam. So first things first, I'm going to get on with making some raspberry jammy stuff. We call it raspberry goo here at Crumbs Doilies. And I've got a saucepan here, it's got 400 grams of frozen raspberries in, and I'm going to add 100 grams of caster sugar to that. And I'm going to put that onto a medium to high heat and bring it to the boil. And it will just break down with all the sugar and the raspberries, and I'm going to simmer that for about 10 or 15 minutes, giving it a stir every now and then until it's nice and thick. And once it's finished, I'm going to sieve it and get rid of all the seeds. And this is how your goo should end up, really nice and viscous and deep, deep red in colour, and it smells amazing. So I'm going to get on with making my sponge, and we're going to ripple that through, and it's going to be so delicious. So to start with, I've got 125 grams of self-raising flour, which I'm going to sieve, and 125 grams of caster sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And then you need 125 grams of soft unsalted butter. And I have 2 large free-range eggs as well. And that just needs to be beat together on a medium speed for about a minute. And once that's had a minute, just pop it down to a low speed and add 1½ tablespoons of whole milk. And just get that going on a medium speed for about another 30 seconds. Right, and once that's all mixed together, it's time to get things really exciting, because at the moment it looks like a pretty boring cake batter, right? Just not even any vanilla, it's really boring. But I'm about to ripple some of that delicious raspberry goo inside. So clean off your paddle to start with. And give it a little stir around, make sure there's no lumps of anything at the bottom. And then with a spoon, just kind of dump a tablespoon to start with into the batter. And we're not going to mix it through at all, we're just going to kind of shuffle it around. Now before I start scooping that into my prepared tin, I'm going to do something extra with some little mini Jammie Dodgers. I'm going to put these at the bottom of each paper case before I scoop it in, because then I'll have a really cute biscuity nuggety surprise at the bottom of my sponge. So if you can't find these, you can use the regular size ones, either break them up or use a cookie cutter just to chomp out the right size for the case, but I'm going to use these guys. And now that my tin is completely full of little Jammie Dodgers, it's time to start scooping. And you'll notice that I'm not mixing the raspberry goo into the batter completely. I've got really clear separation between the two, and that's going to make a really, really good ripple when I bake it. And if you run out of goo, just put more in. Just keep scooping until you've got rid of all your batter, but you've got a nice amount of ripple in there. And now I'm going to bake those at 170 degrees C for 20 to 22 minutes, or until they're nice and springy when I touch them on the top. So while my cakes are baking in the oven, I'm going to get on with the next stage. And I've already got the jammy part of the Jammie Dodger taken care of in the sponge, but I need to bump up the biscuit bit. So I'm going to do that by infusing some milk, which I'll use in the buttercream, with some biscuits. And I've got 200 millilitres of whole milk in my pan, and I'm just going to add 4 large size Jammie Dodgers into that. Just break them up a little bit. So I'm going to bring that to the boil, and then once it's there, I'm going to drop it down, simmer it on a low heat for about 5 minutes. Now the longer you steep this for, the more biscuity flavoured the milk will be. So if you've got time, once you've simmered it for 5 minutes, just pop a lid on it and leave it for a couple of hours. So once I sieved my biscuit milk, it kind of turns into this like thick, goopy liquid, which is absolutely as it's supposed to be. Meanwhile, my cakes came out of the oven and then chilling out over here. So I'm gonna get on with making the buttercream. So I'm starting with 150 grams of soft unsalted butter, and that just needs to be beat together for about 5 minutes. Once it's nice and pale, it's time to add the icing sugar, and I have 340 grams of sugar which I've already sifted. I'm going to add that in 2 stages, beating for about 3 minutes after each addition. Now once all the sugar's in and it's had a few minutes beating, it's time to add your biscuit milk. So I'm going to add all 4 tablespoons to this, and if it is a bit stiff, I'm just going to add a little bit extra milk. Right, that looks perfect, so I'm going to get that into a piping bag. These are still a little bit warm, so I'm just going to clear the decks and get ready for decoration. So I've got my buttercream in a piping bag, I've also got the rest of my raspberry goo in another piping bag, and my cakes are completely cool, so it's time to get decorating, but I've got one more trick up my sleeve, and that is that I'm going to fill these guys with raspberry goo. Basically, reminiscent of an actual Jammie Dodger. So as usual, I'm going to use an apple corer for this. Whatever you can find that's about this big to kind of scoop out a hole, and I'm just going to pop that right in the middle and remove the centre. And once they've all got holes in, you just need to fill them up with the rest of your raspberry goo. And when they're all filled, you need to pipe some of that delicious biscuit buttercream on top. And to finish, I'm going to put a kind of jammy splodge on top, and I'm going to do that with regular shop-bought seedless raspberry jam. The reason being is that sometimes this raspberry goo that we make is a bit runny and it kind of tends to split a little bit. This one really, really holds its shape, so I'm just going to draw a nice, cute little splat on top, and that's going to be almost finished then. And to finish off, a couple of little mini Jammie Dodgers poked in the top. They're all finished and they look really, really cool, but I want to see what's going on inside, so I'm going to cut one open. And look at those layers, and how cute is that? It's got the little biscuit at the bottom and the one at the top, that yummy raspberry goo inside, raspberry ripple sponge, and that biscuit buttercream, and I actually can't wait to eat this, so here we go. Oh my gosh, so jammy. Jam everywhere. Oh, that's really nice. More, hang on. I'm really getting that biscuit flavour from the buttercream. And the bottom and the top. It is so good. This is a brilliant Jammie Dodger cupcake. Well, I hope you give those a go because they're super fun and they are absolutely delicious. And don't forget to check in on the Crumbs Doilies Instagram feed to see what the guys are up to every day. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, then you can do that by clicking on the link at the end. Also, if you're ever in the area in Soho, then you should come and pop in and maybe get yourself one of these Jammie Dodger cupcakes made by our fair hands. I'll be back next week with another recipe for you guys, and until then, have a great time baking Jammie Dodger cupcakes. See ya!